In central Iran, in the Zagros Mountains, lives one of the last great nomadic tribes on the planet, the Bakhtiaris. Twice a year, they carry out the tough journey between their summering and wintering pastures. For the last 30 years, despite strong and spectacular traditions, their number has been constantly decreasing. It's difficult to compete with the allurement of the city. Yet this proud and independent people have relied on solid foundations of large families and clans for thousands of years, convinced that their culture and traditions are the guarantors of their survival. We are close to Shearing, in the heart of the Bakhtiari territory. Farzad Ali Khani comes to meet his father, who has joined several members of his family in front of his summer house. The men wear the chura, the traditional sheep's wool coat. Farzad, 25, greets his cousins, his uncles gathered round his father, and two of his father's wives. Haj Lorazb Gali is not just anyone. He is a Khan, a kind of highly respected leader of a clan that includes several families. "15 years ago, the Khan had more than 1,000 animals, especially sheep and goats, which made it possible to give a livelihood to many families. Here, with his sons around him, years ago he was complaining about the progressive settling of his people. At the time, Farzad on the left was only 10 years old. He grew up in one of the towns of the valley of Shearing while spending his summers in the pastures. The Bakhtiaris spend the winter with their herds in the southwest of the country, in Khuzestan, where it's hot. In the spring, they all migrate to the high mountains around the Kurang River and the village of Shearing. Khuzestan is well irrigated by the river Karun, particularly in its mountainous area. In Lali, in this mid-April, the temperature easily exceeds 30 degrees. In this small village, many nomads who have spent the winter in the warm prepare to leave for Shearing and its surroundings. Farzad, who now works with his father, gives an update on the families who are leaving. In recent years, roads and tracks fit for vehicles have multiplied. Many families now carry out the kuch, this seasonal migration, by truck or car. Farzad goes to Ali Gebi before leaving. He's a beekeeper, and his honey is first class.
It's a different kind of honey. Oh yeah, it's much stronger.
This honey comes from here in Khuzestan, while the other one comes from the valley of Kurang, where I am in summer. The bees go on these different flowers to forage. There it's on bushes. Here it's on a tree called the konar. The bees forage its flower and the taste is completely different. It's very wild and very good. The hives are ready to go. They will make the journey by car. Masjid Suleiman has become a small town. 15 years ago, there were still many small hamlets all around it, where the nomads spent the winter. Since the government encouraged the nomads to settle down, buildings have sprouted a bit hastily, ready to accommodate the influx of Bakhtiaris. But integration is difficult. The nomads find themselves with no work or income. Many buildings are still empty. On the roads, the kuch has just started, using traditional methods. Families and tents on mules, flocks and shepherds walking at a steady pace for 2 to 3 weeks. while others pile everything up in a truck to make the journey in about 8 hours. The Hosseini family is not yet ready to take the road. They still have to shear a part of the herd. Farzad is interested in buying some livestock. They use the kara, a tool that goes back to the dawn of time. There are 2 mobile blades that rub against each other while resting on a wooden stick.
It's the right time to shear their wool. The quality is at its best. We'll first have all this weight. Some animals are still thin, others are bigger. The thinnest ones we've left to graze on the mountain before leaving for transhumance, so they gain in strength. You can get between 1 and 2 kilos. It all depends on the quality of the wool.
If the wool is very thick, they will be able to sell it for a good price, a crucial source of income to compensate for the fall of the price of meat.
It proves that it's good wool. The quality is perfect for coats. Look.
They should set out in 2 to 3 weeks to reach the Kurang Valley. Close by, 2 women make a jul, a saddle rug for donkeys and horses. The trail leading to the Zardi Pass is crowded with flocks on the move. The Kuchi is well and truly underway. Farzad is also heading for Galugad to spot quality sheep and buy a few.
He is a cousin of my family. And funnily enough, he's also called Ali Khani like me. Our family and his are neighbors in Khuzestan.
At nightfall, Farzad accepts the Sarderi family's hospitality. The patriarch is a close relative of his father. They have settled just after the pass. The altitude brings a relative freshness, and they will only leave for Galugad in a fortnight.
I hope my children will be able to change their lives. I'd like them to continue to study, to go to town, because in the tent it's no life.
A few years ago, the mobile phone made a sudden appearance in the nomad's life, and it was quickly adopted.
Life here is still better. The air is pure, even if sometimes we find it hard living under a tent. In the city, there's pollution, noise. It's difficult to put up with.
I cannot live in town. My life is here in the open air. In town, they have none of what we have around us. I could not live as they do.
In the freshness of the early morning, Ismail's wife has had to warm the sheep's stomach in which she prepares the fermented milk and then the butter. The eldest daughter is approaching 15 years of age. She knows that school will end for her soon and that in a few months her father will marry her off. On reaching the Shimba Valley, we see that the nomads' children still go to school for about 2 weeks. Some walk for more than an hour to reach the only 2 classrooms in the vicinity. Today, due to the rain, barely half the students have come. Usually, this container is crowded.
We have the children for about 6 months, from autumn to mid-spring. They're all children of nomads.
The first high passes confirm their arrival in the province of Chaharmal Kurang. The different groups which make their way towards Shearing nervously keep an eye on the weather. Some of them will cross high-altitude mountain passes and have no desire to be blocked by snow. As is the case with Zara Nuruz's family. The shepherds slow the pace down so that the sheep can take advantage of the grass which grows here in abundance. Farzad makes the most of his visit to Shamanguli to visit Fatima Saderi. She produces Churas, coats of very high quality. His is starting to look a little worn.
Depending on the richness and complexity of the design, it takes about 25 days to make. It can be 14 days when the drawings are simpler. I'm afraid that we're the last to know how to make this kind of coat. No one wants to take over. You see this? It's a coat of great value. The work is very precise, the quality is very good. The way it's woven, that's what gives good quality.
I like to dress Western style every day, jeans and T-shirts. But this type of outfit, especially with this coat, and especially with this level of quality, is definitely used less and less in everyday life. I put it on for more special occasions, when we meet between Bakhtiaris and for parties or family gatherings.
At the top of the Zardi Pass, Farzad spots Yousefi Tamos. He's been on the road for 10 days. He has 150 goats and 80 sheep, and he pauses for the livestock to rest.
Where have you come from?
Andakar, next to Majestic Suleiman.
When did you get here?
It's been 10 days since I arrived.
And the animals are making the most of it then?
I came from the south with my herd to find some good grass. There wasn't enough to eat, it was too dry.
But there are other places.
We're here on this mountain for the livestock. Here they can go anywhere and find food.
But there are other places, no?
No, there's more and more farmland, and you have to pay to graze on certain fields.
Yeah, you have to pay for grazing. Anything else?
There are many problems in this business. The track doesn't suit me. It's not because of the price, but because it's too hot. It's not good for the animals. On the trail, they can eat properly. For those who've chosen the trail to reach the pass, the slope is quite steep. Guldarz Haydari is at the head of a flock of 1,700 animals. He's a close family member of Farzad, and his flock is magnificent. We've come from Khuzistan. I'm a nomad of Sharicord. I come from Ajari in the south.
How long since you left?
We started the Kutch 10 days before the Nuruz New Year. We've already spent 10 days on the road. We have 1,000 head.
Oh yes, 1,000. Why don't you take them by truck?
I can't transport 1,000 animals by truck. We do it in the more traditional way.
And which way are you going?
We want to go to Sebastun. We're going to Sebastun. We left at 5 in the morning, and we don't know what time we'll arrive.
I'm very happy with all these days spent on the Kutch. More than 90% of the people I met knew me or my family. I introduced myself as the son of Hajloraz Gale. It was very rewarding for me, even though this lifestyle is not all that simple.
A large number of the 700 goats avoid the road, keeping to a valley where there's still snow. Further south, families and flocks are also on their way to Galugad. This track allows them to take advantage of the surrounding lakes, artificial water reservoirs that have been created for irrigation. Saeed Ramezani has just arrived with 5 other families. He plans to stay in Galugad for about 6 months. The grass is very good and abundant. The animals seem in good shape. These sheepdogs are both very strong and efficient, but they can prove to be very dangerous confronted with a stranger.
It's true that many people today prefer to migrate by truck. I prefer to walk. It's safer for the sheep. They hurt themselves less. And it's healthier for them. They get a little exercise. I like the nomadic life. It's a lifestyle that suits me. I've seen a change in the weather in the last 10, 15 years. It's raining less, but on the other hand, it's colder.
To head towards Shearing, Farzad gets in Ghazan Farpour Nadiali's truck, a cousin of his father. It's his second return journey of the day between Sarend near Lali and Shearing, 6 to 7 hours on the road each time. Ghazan is tired, but he still has a good 10 days of return journeys ahead of him. The men arrived in a pickup truck at the same time as the first part of the flock.
Take that off. Undo it. See what he wants. Take the animal's foot out.
For Ghazan Farpour, there's no time to lose. He must go off again to Khuzestan for another round trip. As for Farzad, he stops by at his father's summer house. As well as the flock, he intends to develop several types of crops there.
All around my father's house, there's lots of fields. And I've also got family who have land. And my two uncles are here on the other side of the road. I've started growing herbs and plants that we use for cooking. And I'm hoping to be able to sell them to Fariborz's co-op. These herbs are fragile. We call them kana. I protect all of this plot. We mix them with rice. It's very good. That's kalaf, which grows in the mountains. It's part of our tradition here. I'm doing trials with it. I think it's going to work.
On this plot, he's been growing saffron for 3 years. He has to be patient. The results are promising, but slow in coming. Farzad goes back to the center of Shearing. He's invited to an engagement ceremony, the Bale Barum. The wedding has to take place during the marriage season, that is, mid-September, before leaving for the winter quarters. Mohammed Soleimani is 24 years old and his future wife, Tuba Balipou, is 19. Men and women are separated by a wall and a rudimentary tarpaulin. The women dance with each other and with the children. On their side, the heads of the families must agree on a price for the bride in case of a divorce, the amount the husband's family must pay if there are problems. The agreed price is marked in a notebook. Mohammed, the husband-to-be, greets all the family heads who are present. The two fiancés are now going to sign the notebook, thus completing the first stage before the wedding. Farzad got up at dawn to go and meet the Noruzi family, who he'd passed on the banks of the river. Today they will try to scale the formidable pass of Zardi Pass at nearly 3,800 meters altitude. His help will be most welcome.
We're waiting for the Nomads here at the Zardi Pass, where the Nomads will pass through. They wanted to go through today. I came to meet them at 5 a.m. this morning, but apparently they had a problem. There's still a huge amount of snow at the pass. The mules and the other animals couldn't get through. So I think they'll try again tomorrow, even if they may not make it. There's too much snow. I hope they'll manage to get through.
The next morning, Farzad decides to go even further into the mountain to meet them. After several hours' wait, the flock bursts through the snow. They had indeed been blocked by the snow. In this part of the mountain, there are lots of bears, and they are dangerous. It's essential to carry a gun. They've come from Dezful in Khuzestan, with 300 goats and 450 sheep. The goats are more hardy. They come along behind. And it's the women and men with the mules and horses who bring up the rear.
My parents and grandparents were nomads. I'm a nomad too, and I'm happy with it. Yes, I'm extremely tired. Going through this pass is really difficult. We had to unblock the pass. It was full of snow. We couldn't have got through without the shovels. We had to dig away the snow. It took us ages.
At 3,000 meters altitude, there's some snow about, and there's still the difficult crossing of the river to manage. Hamid takes 5 minutes to chat with Farzad. He has to wait for his mother, who's at the back of the convoy.
It takes a month to do the journey. Then we're going to settle in the Kurang Valley.
Not all of the lambs will survive this interminable journey, in spite of being well protected. There's still a long rock face to tackle before reaching the first valleys.
We had problems. There were thieves who took some of the goats, just down there in the bottom of the valley. I think they were nomads too.
With the father dead, Zara, the mother, directs operations. They're going to spend the night here, out in the open.
I've got 7 sons and 3 daughters. They're all nomads. They do the same as me. The whole family work as nomads.
Am I tired? No, not at all. I love my way of life. And today, everything's okay, in spite of the difficulties up there in the snow. I do the same thing as my father and grandfather before me. They were nomads. Maybe one day we'll settle somewhere and stay there.
In the valleys down below the Zardi Pass, the Nurali family set up camp a few days ago. They arrived by lorry. Gebipur is 45 years old. He has only 50 sheep, and Farzad has already picked out a few. On foot, transhumance is truly physically demanding. It's exhausting. I have the whole family with me, including an elderly person. I don't have mules or donkeys anymore, and that's why I make the journey by lorry. I love everything about the nomad's life, in particular nature. I love being with the sheep. I love working the land. Not to mention the fresh air we have here.
Even though it's a hard life being a nomad, the majority of them are happy. The standard of living is very low when you live like that. They have practically nothing, whereas in towns the standard of living is much higher.
A nomad's life is not a good life. There are lots of problems. You could never rest. No water, no shower, no toilets, nothing. We're nomads because we don't have any choice.
But you have a house in Churas, in the Khuzestan.
Yes, we have a house back there, but we must follow our sheep. Our children stay there. It's not a good life, being a nomad.
There's nothing good about it?
Yes, it's good. But mainly for the men, not for the women. The men just don't care.
For most of the families, Galugad is the end of this long journey. At 2,300 meters altitude, its appearance has changed over the years. Many nomads have become settled. But the basic problems persist, notably in the support of the nomads, who are often without a means of earning an income in their new life. Fariborz is from a large family of nomads who are sedentary these days. His grandfather was a highly respected Khan. He is settled with his family in a house in the town centre. He plans to stand for the municipal elections so that he can give more help to nomads.
I was born a nomad. I think that in the future there will be fewer of us, but we won't disappear.
Fariborz is happy to meet Farzad and his friends in a tent to celebrate the arrival of the nomads.
ای داده به نام خداوند و جان و خداوند جای خداوند روزی ده و رهنمای.
Nomads today need help and support, especially for questions of health. They're beginning to find out what they need. But if I'm elected mayor, I want to help them. But one must also preserve the nomad's life and nomad culture. The Bakhtiar culture and folklore are important for the development of tourism in the region of Shahar Mahal and Kuran.
Meanwhile, there are more arrivals all around Galugad. Farzad is now going to a ceremony in memory of a nomad who died last year. Families and clans arrive in groups. Their names are announced over the loudspeaker.
It's a memorial service, a year after the death of the boy. There was a crime of passion with heavy prison sentences handed out. We're trying to bring the families together in an attempt to reconcile them.
This sort of occurrence shows the complex structure of the Bakhtiar tribes, and in particular their strength. Whole clans rally with the Khan at their head. A solution will be negotiated, no doubt in exchange for a large sum of money. Farzad hasn't seen the Muzai family for quite a time. Ramat, the father, has been settled for a long time in the village of Nalesh Kanon. These days, he's an engineer, and Sangima, his wife, is an expert in carpet making.
It's not a carpet of typical Bakhtiar style. It will be used inside the house mainly. All of the wool in the balls comes from the sheep, and all the dyes are natural. Usually I need a year to make a carpet, but it can take up to 2 years.
Once the carpet is finished, it will be sold either directly to the client or via the Galugad cooperative.
When you were a nomad, in spite of the difficulties, did you have a better life than you do now?
In those days, we had a really difficult life. We were out in all weathers. Now it's much more comfortable. Ramat knows Farzad's father. A Khan is still an important person even today. I think each tribe must have an important man at its head. Because in that way, he'll have the possibility of helping the group's families and give them support if necessary. It's important to have a chief. At the top of the village of Chelgeld, Fariborz Gebi has transformed an old building into a museum and cooperative. He displays all the products of the families around there, including Sangima's carpets. He explains to passing visitors the particularities of each of the pieces, which are up for sale.
This region of Kurang and Jahar Mahal is beginning to attract tourists who visit the area and are curious about Bakhtiar culture. I created this cooperative to show off the Bakhtiar culture and also to have workshops producing handicrafts and to help sell them to Iranian tourists and also those coming from abroad.
We are now in the month of September and autumn is approaching fast. The harvest is finishing. Ali Gebi, the beekeeper from Lali, has just spent the summer in the high altitudes. He's beginning to organize his hives in preparation for his departure. In the last 15 years, he has lived through several important changes in his life. The first great change in the nomad's life was the transhumance, which is done more and more by road in a lorry, whereas for centuries it was done on foot. And of course it's easier. The second point is the arrival of portable telephones. We can now communicate with our families, even when they're at Khuzestan on the other side, or if they're on the road. We can know where they are. We can talk to them. The portable telephone has been a huge advance in the life of nomads. Now, at the end of September, the marriage season is in full swing. There's one nearly every day. The dance of the scarves brings together the guests in a great circle. Farzad comes to represent his clan. Guns are still an inevitable virile attribute. They hark back to the time when the Bakhtiaris were brave warriors. More than ever, the bride's family covered the young girl's face so that she cannot be seen or photographed. This is a recent phenomenon, less frequently seen 20 years ago. In other marriages, the dance of the stick has an important part. A game of skill where one has to whip the opponent's ankles with the stick. The most interesting marriage will be that of Fariborz, the future mayor of Chilguer. He's getting married at Shearing because his wife is from the town, but keeping to all the Bakhtiar customs. As for his wife, we will only glimpse her for a few seconds before she rushes in her car to the enclosed building reserved for women and children. We won't see any more of her. Farzad will have to wait for several hours before he can congratulate Fariborz on his own without his wife.
My grandfather was a great tribal chief, very strict. The custom, the tradition, was to separate men and women, whatever the nature of the event. And that's what we will still do today for my marriage.
Farzad's father, the Khan, now lives in town in the valley, in a smart apartment. His wives still cook on the floor. When we were nomads, we were kings of the earth. But now we live in town, and we're nothing. Sometimes we talked with 100 people around us. There was a crowd following us. At Galugad, the caravans are leaving via the southern pass. Fewer and fewer of them. The lorries have taken up their rounds again. Animals, furniture, women and children are piled pell-mell into them.
In the next 10 years, the number of nomads will fall even more sharply. The way of life has changed. These days, there are more and more roads. We don't know what's going to happen. Nomads will carry on traveling. but the future remains uncertain.